September 30, 1941, 04:11 a.m. Convoy HG-74, off Cape St. Vincent. The Rock of Gibraltar is only a faint smudge on the starboard quarter, 30 miles away and shrinking into the night as the convoy pushes north. The sky is the color of wet slate, that strange dead gray that exists just before dawn but refuses to let light actually arrive. The Atlantic swell rolls in long, patient breaths, lifting HMS Deptford and setting her down again like a toy on a restless chest. The sloop's hull groans softly with each rise. Her deck plates tremble. Her rigging hums a low note that feels almost alive. A cold film of spray covers everything, and the air tastes of metal, salt, and diesel exhaust, a cocktail every sailor in the western approaches now knows far too well. On the forecastle, the Hedgehog sits crouched under its canvas cover, dew gathered thick on top, 24 black muzzles hidden but unmistakable beneath the fabric. Even covered, the weapon radiates a strange tension, as if it knows the moment it has been waiting for has finally arrived. Lieutenant Commander Frank Hopkins, Deptford's captain, hasn't slept in 36 hours. His beard is a week old, his eyes reduced to narrow red slits. But this kind of tiredness is familiar now, tiredness that moves into the bones and makes a man feel older than he is. Beside him stands Lieutenant Peter Gretton, stopwatch in hand, equally exhausted, equally focused, equally aware that something important is about to happen. The two men stand shoulder to shoulder, their silhouettes etched against the dim bridge windows, watching the sea the way hunters watch a dark tree line. Below them, the convoy spreads out in a loose, cautious pattern, merchant ships straining toward home, while their escorts form a ring of thin steel hope around them. The war in the Atlantic has not been kind. Too many ships gone, too many good men lost, too many U-boats slipping in unseen, striking with cold precision. Deptford has been out for days, and the men's faces show it, hollow eyes, cracked lips, salt-dried hair, and that jitter in the voice that comes from never being fully warm or fully rested. At 04:11, the Aztec hut breaks the silence. The operator leans forward, headphones tight over his ears, heart racing as a new echo bounces back stronger than the others. "Contact bearing 275, range 1,000 yards, moving right fast," he calls, trying to keep his voice steady, but failing as excitement leaks through. "Definitely a U-boat, sir. Depth 60 feet. One sentence, but it changes everything. A fresh electric charge races through the ship. Hopkins does not hesitate. He has been preparing for this moment since Fairley, since the trials, since men whispered about the new secret weapon that could change the rules. "Action stations, stand by Hedgehog." His voice is calm, clipped, absolute. The klaxon screams through the ship. In the dim red light of the mess decks, men spring from hammocks, boots thudding on steel, hands grabbing helmets and gloves. Bare feet slap ladders as sailors scramble upward. The mortar crew reaches the forecastle in seconds, breath fogging in the cold air. One tug and the canvas cover rips away, revealing the Hedgehog. 24 spigots armed with contact-fused bombs, each packed with 65 pounds of Torpex, each requiring only a single touch against steel to erupt with terrifying force. The weapon looks primitive, almost agricultural, but every man on board knows what it can do. They have heard the rumors, they have studies from Fairley, they have watched chalk diagrams in the wardroom showing perfect ellipses of death. Deptford turns directly toward the U-boat. No evasive maneuver. No serpentine approach, no loss of sonar contact. This is not the old way, charging blindly over the target, losing Aztec at the last second, dropping depth charges and praying one lands close enough. Those days suddenly feel ancient. The Hedgehog allows Deptford to keep contact the whole time, to strike while the submarine is still in her sights. Hopkins grips the bridge rail. Gretton tightens his fingers around the stopwatch. Every man on board feels the shift in the air. "Range 500, 400, 300, the Aztec operator calls out. His voice cracks on 300. He tries again, louder, as adrenaline floods him. Gretton raises the stopwatch, thumb hovering. On the bridge, everyone is listening for one word. Fire! The Hedgehog erupts, not with the thunder of depth charges, but with 24 sharp coughs, almost delicate by comparison. Sparks spit from the tails of the bombs as they leap skyward in a perfect rising cone. Men tilt their heads up, eyes following the dark silhouettes arcing into the last moments of night. The projectiles pause at the top of their flight, hanging for 3 long, endless seconds as if suspended by fate itself. Then gravity remembers them. They fall in a perfect oval pattern 300 yards ahead of the ship, 120 feet across, exactly as designed, exactly as tested, exactly as the officers in Fairley had dreamed it might be. The sea absorbs the bombs silently, swallowing them without a splash large enough to matter. And suddenly, the world becomes painfully still. Hopkins counts the seconds under his breath. Every sailor counts with him. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, the kind of slow counting men have done in the dark for centuries when waiting for something deadly to finish its work. Then the ocean explodes. 6 sharp cracks tear through the dawn, vicious and unmistakable, the sound of metal being punched apart underwater. A geyser of white water surges 80 feet high, lit faintly by the first weak hint of sunrise. Black fragments shoot upward in the spray. The Aztec trace disappears instantly. The smell of fuel rises almost immediately, thick, oily, unmistakable, even from the bridge. A slick begins to spread across the surface, a dark stain growing wider by the second. On the forecastle, a sailor instinctively starts cheering, but is hushed at once. Discipline returns quickly, but the joy remains in every man's eyes. Hopkins allows the smallest exhale, not quite a smile, but close for a man who has forgotten how to smile properly during this war. 6 hits confirmed, target destroyed. The enormity of it settles over the ship. They have just made history. It is U-204, commanded by Oberleutnant zur See Walter Kell, 46 men, no survivors. The first U-boat ever destroyed by Hedgehog. From firing to obliteration, the entire attack lasted 7 seconds. 7 seconds to change the Battle of the Atlantic. In the wardroom 10 minutes later, the steward pours rum with trembling hands. The men sit in silence at first, absorbing what just happened. Then, cautiously, the tension breaks. Gretton lifts his mug, voice hoarse from cold and lack of sleep. To the prickly little bastard on the forecastle, may he be very, very rude to many more Germans. A few tired laughs ripple through the room. Someone slaps the table. Someone else wipes his eyes and pretends it's the smoke. Deptford feels lighter, as if the entire ship has taken a deep breath for the first time in months. Word of the kill travels fast. Signals flash to Gibraltar, to Londonderry, to the Admiralty in London. Officers reading the report stop mid-stride. Staffers exchange stunned looks. Within hours, every escort commander in the Western approaches knows the weapon works. Not in theory, not in controlled trials, not against scuttled hulks or training targets. It works in the real ocean, in real combat, against a real U-boat doing everything in its power to survive, and it gives the submarine no warning at all. Far away in Lorient, inside the U-boat headquarters, Admiral Donitz receives a brief signal. U-204 overdue, presumed lost with all hands. No depth charge signatures, no wreckage typical of ramming, no distress call, no survivors, just gone. He stares at the message, the muscles in his jaw tightening. Something is wrong. Something is happening that his commanders have not prepared for. He slams his fist onto the chart table so hard the glass top cracks. Was zum Teufel war das? What in God's name was that? No one has an answer. But the U-boat crews begin to sense the truth long before Berlin does. Their patrol reports change tone. Phrases appear that no one has seen before. Escorts no longer losing contact during attack. Enemy firing something ahead. Multiple simultaneous explosions. No time to react. The bravado evaporates. The jokes disappear. The quiet, creeping realization settles across the U-boat arm like a fog. The Atlantic has changed. The escorts have changed. The balance of the hunt has shifted. The wolves who once prowled the night unchallenged now feel something new stalking them. Something silent, precise, invisible until the instant it kills. Something that gives no warning and leaves no survivors. For the first time in the war, U-boat crews begin to feel a cold, unfamiliar sensation settle into their stomachs. Fear.